Today, I would like to provide a summary of the book Thinking Fast Slow by Daniel Kahneman, which explores the fascinating intersection of psychology and economics. Daniel Kahneman, a renowned psychologist and professor at Princeton University, made history by becoming the first psychologist to win the Nobel Prize. In 2002, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Economics for his groundbreaking work in combining psychological and economic theories. Kahneman's achievement stems from his pioneering efforts to understand how people make decisions and take actions in uncertain situations. Contrary to common belief, his research reveals that decision-making is not always driven by clear and rational reasoning. Instead, individuals consider a multitude of factors, sometimes even beyond their own conscious awareness. This complexity often leads to decisions that may seem illogical or difficult to comprehend. The field of behavioral economics, coined by Kahneman, delves into the unexplored realms of human behavior, emotions, and psychology that traditional economics has overlooked. It examines topics such as emotional influences, psychological activities, and the intricacies of human character. This interdisciplinary subject has rapidly gained momentum and has been instrumental in the research of many notable economists, including Richard Thaler, who developed influential theories like mental accounting and the framing effect. The book Thinking Fast Slow offers a captivating exploration of these concepts, shedding light on the fascinating intricacies of human decision-making. It serves as an invitation to delve deeper into the subject and uncover the multitude of reasons behind our actions. This book by Daniel Kahneman introduces the concept of behavioral economics in a unique way, highlighting the distinction between fast and slow thinking. The first system, or fast thinking, relies on intuition and immediate decision-making, while the second system, or slow thinking, involves long-term and comprehensive analysis. Both systems operate simultaneously in our decision-making process, with the faster system often taking the lead due to its quick nature. However, this can lead to errors and biased judgments. By learning to effectively utilize both systems and fill in the gaps, we can make more informed and balanced decisions. The book explores the characteristics of human reasoning when both systems are at play, the potential biases and errors that can arise when one system dominates, and how to leverage both systems to make sound and impartial decisions. Let us delve into these key points without delay. When one system and two systems collaborate, what are the characteristics of human thinking? We have previously discussed the distinctions between one system and two systems. A system that relies more on intuition, with minimal cognitive effort, can be classified as fast thinking. On the other hand, the two systems of reasoning, which involve a more deliberate and reflective process, can be termed as slow thinking. To simplify, consider this example. When you see a photo of a woman with white skin, long black hair, and big eyes, you can quickly conclude that she is a beautiful girl without much cognitive processing. This is an instance of fast thinking. However, if presented with a mathematical problem like 1724 on a blank sheet of paper, you would need to engage in deeper thought, concentration, and possibly apply specific formulas or methods to arrive at the correct answer. This type of calculation necessitates the use of both systems of thinking, known as slow thinking. While one system and two systems are not distinct parts of the brain, they represent two different modes of thinking that can complement each other. The former relies on intuition and automatic judgments based on past experiences and memory, bypassing the need for extensive cognitive processing. For instance, the equation 112 does not require much effort, but when faced with a calculation like 40 to 63, one needs to switch to two systems to arrive at the correct answer. The thought process of an individual is a result of the collaboration between one system and two systems. When the mind is refreshed, both the one system and the two systems function effectively. The one system provides information to the two persistent systems, including emotions, memories, habits, and more. In general, two systems can be evaluated with just a little cooperation from the one system. However, when the one system encounters a problem, it relies on the assistance of the two systems for critical thinking, as suggested by Kahneman. When faced with an intellectual challenge, the mind steps in to help find a solution, similar to how one drives a car. While driving on a familiar road with straight lines, turning on lights when necessary, and constantly checking mirrors. These actions are carried out unconsciously as a result of the instructions given by a system. However, when encountering an unfamiliar fork in the road, one slows down and engages the two systems to make a decision or recall the correct route. This requires looking at road signs or consulting a map. This exemplifies a perfect collaboration between the one system and the two systems. Daniel Kahneman conducted numerous experiments that have confirmed the misconception that most of our decisions are rational due to thinking from two systems, when in reality it is just one system at play. This leads to decisions being made without a clear position or reason, resulting in unintentional choices. The reason behind this phenomenon lies in the fact that the two systems require time and energy to think, but the brain naturally avoids expending energy on deep thinking. As a result, both systems end up accepting decisions from the one system unconditionally. The quick thinking of this one system often takes precedence over our decisions, especially in situations where there is a lack of commitment, weakening both systems and causing a loss of focus. Consequently, due to laziness, we tend to automatically accept the decisions made by the one system. Version 1. In essence, individuals possess a uniform thinking structure with a transition between single system and dual system thinking. For routine tasks, employing a single system suffices for resolution, whereas complex matters necessitate the involvement of two systems. The key lies in mastering the ability to switch between these modes of thinking, ensuring seamless collaboration between the two systems and the single system to arrive at sound decisions. This approach is highly efficient. However, the drawback lies in the slower functioning of the dual systems, leading to delayed decision-making and often resulting in outcomes influenced by the single system's thinking due to the brain's inclination towards inertia. Consequently, some decisions lack clarity, rationale, and may be subject to bias or error. 2. When comparing a single system to two systems in decision-making, what factors can contribute to bias and mistakes? Moving on to the next point. If a system possesses such an advantage, how might it influence outcomes? Daniel Kahneman extensively researched this concept. For instance, imagine seeing a man in a suit reading the New York Times on a train. If someone were to ask you about his educational background, would you assume he holds a doctorate or just a high school diploma? Studies reveal that many individuals tend to make quick judgments based solely on appearances, assuming he must be highly educated, possibly a doctor. This illustrates how a system's assumptions, whether someone is highly educated or not, can be made instantly without considering other relevant factors. Simply observing him reading the newspaper leads the system to conclude that he is well educated. Other aspects, such as his behavior, credibility of references, etc., are often overlooked. Failing to utilize multiple systems for analysis is a common mistake. This represents the initial error that arises when individuals rely on a single system for immediate judgments, neglecting other crucial factors that could introduce bias or inaccuracies. Let me provide you with a different illustration. Imagine you are watching TV and come across the distressing news of a recent plane crash. This may lead you to feel uneasy, hesitant to fly for a period of time, opting to drive for long hours instead. Even if statistics show that flying is safer than driving by a significant margin, the initial impact of witnessing such an incident can linger in your mind, influencing your decision-making. When it comes to processing information about accidents, it is important to gather data from multiple sources and analyze the safety records of both modes of transportation. Despite this, individuals may still choose to drive due to the psychological impact of sensationalized news coverage. For instance, when acts of terrorism are highlighted in the media, there is a tendency to associate certain groups with danger, leading to unfounded biases and misconceptions. It is crucial to recognize that such generalizations are inaccurate and unjust, as they do not reflect the reality of the situation. The second part of the book also mentions the anchor's effect, which literally translates to anchor effect. This principle says that when a person makes a decision, it is related to the first experience he has experienced. It is like an anchor that appears on the seabed. The boat is still floating around. The anchor cannot go, not far. Another example is the percentage of deaths of a patient who has just had surgery. Doctors say to patients, 3 months after surgery, the survival rate is 90, or the same can be said that 3 months after surgery, the mortality rate is 10. Two words have different meanings, just change the way you describe it. If you were sick, which word would you prefer to hear? Certainly the first word, and the first word has two keywords. The first is alive, the second is 90. The second word also has two keywords. The first is death, the second is 10. Even if the percentage is small, the word death has left the patient in a trance, like an anchor thrown into the ocean of his brain, so 10 or 90 less likely to throw. How much influence on his judgment? If you are a doctor, you know what to say to a patient, right? In it, The author also mentions the endowment effect, literally gift theory discovered by another Nobel laureate, Richard Thaler. In this theory, it is said that when one gains and loses the other, one feels unequal. When you get an item, you are less likely to take a risk, like when a gambler wins. You are afraid of losing, but when you lose an item, you are brave enough to take a risk, which is like over-losing. And even more afraid of losing like that. The feeling of happiness when you collect 100 cannot be matched with the feeling of sadness when you lose the 100 you picked up. This is also one of the reasons why a system makes biased judgments. Now let us delve into the third aspect, which is how to avoid biased or erroneous judgments and enhance our logical thinking. We tend to make mistakes or be biased because one system dominates our decision-making process. However, it is not a difficult task to overcome this. We simply need to slow down our thinking from fast to slow and transfer this responsibility to a complementary system. By doing so, we can reevaluate, supplement, or correct the information provided by the dominant system, thereby reducing immediate assumptions. According to Daniel Kahneman, these two systems work slowly and deliberately, much like waking up a sleepy person in the morning. If we don't rely solely on our own judgment and instead seek input from others, the second method is often more efficient. This may be attributed to psychological factors, such as maintaining a healthy level of skepticism and not blindly trusting others. Especially when faced with an important decision, it is often said that one sees more clearly than the player. In such situations, individuals tend to employ two systems, carefully analyzing and refining their thoughts and ideas. This is precisely why certain companies gather their teams together when making crucial decisions. They utilize two systems to evaluate and determine the best possible solution. Daniel Kahneman introduced a technique known as autopsies, which involves awakening both systems by assuming the potential failure of a decision. Each team member then writes down possible reasons for the failure of their respective ideas, arranging them in order of necessity and percentage. This approach allows for preemptive measures to be taken, minimizing risks and preventing potential pitfalls. Additionally, Kahneman suggests another technique called eavesdropping. Prior to making a decision, one can engage in informal conversations with the team, listening to their discussions and criticisms regarding the decision at hand. Whether the feedback is positive or negative, being open and receptive to it is highly beneficial. By incorporating the perspectives of others and reflecting on our own thoughts, the ultimate objective is to prolong the duration of our thinking process and ignite both systems. Let us now briefly summarize the key points discussed in this book. Initially, we delve into the concept of two systems operating simultaneously, one being impulsive, relying on habits, emotions, and experiences for quick decisions, while the other involves more thoughtful consideration. The balance between these systems is crucial in decision-making, with laziness often leading us to favor the faster, one-system approach. Moving on, we explore how the dominance of one system can result in biased judgments, as illustrated by examples like the anchor's effect and endowment effect. The authors propose strategies to shift decision-making from one system to two, promoting a more thorough analysis of information and reducing the risk of errors. By actively engaging both systems and utilizing techniques like autopsy and eavesdropping, we can enhance our cognitive processes and make more informed choices. Upon reflection of the aforementioned information, it becomes apparent that there are individuals who continue to make definitive decisions, uphold strong principles, and detach themselves from emotions. This issue has persisted for countless years without immediate resolution until the publication of a certain book that shed light on the matter. It is evident that not all decisions are purely logical, and there exist numerous imperfections that require rectification. The key lies in harmonizing both thinking systems to facilitate swift and efficient decision-making. For those interested in delving deeper into this subject, the original book Thinking, Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman is highly recommended for further reading.